Like it's maybe take more of an easterly turn, which is not a bad thing. But again, those folks in Wilson out there, definitely be prepared for some hail and strong winds. We'll have more on these storms throughout the evening. Have a good evening.
And so between updates right here on TV, Matt, that was Dylan Smith, Steve Devine also here, and this is Matt Ernst. So I want to show you these severe thunderstorms we are tracking out to the west, and they're moving closer to Lubbock. So heads up if you are here in Lubbock, know that we have a severe thunderstorm just to your west. Did just have a report of a land spout from the storm near Levelland, and up to about 1 inch hail in Levelland as well. So you can see thunderstorms are moving to the east. I'm going to take a little bit closer look here on radar to show you the most intense part of the thunderstorm. We're noting now getting some larger hail indications near shallow water, but also stretching from near Smyre and also through Levelland. So at least 1 inch hail with the thunderstorms we see right there. Also, I want to check real quick, make sure the audio is coming through cleanly. Let's see. So, okay, we're good to go here. So, had the question here about hail center. That line of thunderstorm stretches just to your west, but at this point in hail center, looks like the core is actually going to pass just to your south. Hopefully, you'll get some rain. You're not in the warning at this point, but we are tracking a few different warnings right here. We also want to show you that there's a big complex moving out of the panhandle that likely will affect the southeastern or northeastern and eastern parts of our area, the rolling plains. But again, our focus right now is severe warning for this thunderstorm, or kind of a line of thunderstorms just to the west of Lubbock, moving this way. And also a lot of gusty wind out there as well. Here's a live look from 98th and University looking back to the west. A lot of wind has been kicked up by these storms. So we're going to gather a little bit more information here and be right back shortly here. But keep it on the stream because we will continue our coverage even when we are not on TV. You'll see the coverage right here at KCBD.com, our streaming app, also here on Facebook and YouTube.
Good evening, I'm Steve Devine in the First Alert Forecast Center along with Dylan Smith, Matt Ernst here with our team coverage of the severe weather. Our tower cam is looking out toward the northwest or the west-northwest. This is actually 98th westbound right here, and you can see the frequent lightning in this storm that is approaching at least the northwestern portions of the city of Lubbock right now. It's already in the northwestern portions of the county, and on the radar you'll be able to see that, and the National Weather Service has just issued a severe thunderstorm warning, this very large polygon which extends all the way through Lubbock County and on into areas of Crosby County and as well as Lynn County here, northern portions of Lynn County. So that's kind of replacing the earlier warnings that we had in effect. So let's take a little closer look at this area in here, and then we'll put this into motion so you can see the movement of these storms, which have been generally eastward about 15 miles per hour. So this is already moving into the Abernathy area at the moment, and with the next 30 minutes or so, northern areas of the county, this will continue to spread eastward. Southern areas of the county, the tail end of the storm is moving into the southwestern portion of the county. But notice the intensities that are showing up here. This indicates a potential hail core in this storm, and we've had some reports of some hail in the area. So Dylan Smith is in here and want to check in with Dylan some of the storm reports that we've received so far. Dylan.
That's right. According to the National Weather Service, we have 2-inch hail or close to it down near Tahoka. That's something we haven't seen all day. We've seen mostly 1 to 1.5 inch hail, so that's certainly an interesting thing to be seeing down there. But that storm was pretty potent earlier. Now it has started to fade. That was a storm down south of Lubbock. But now we've also seen reports of a land spout out near Levelland, as well as 1-inch hail observed out in Levelland. So we're continuing to keep an eye on that. But this is the storm that is now moving into Lubbock County and the central portions of the South Plains. So a hail threat as well as a 60-mile-an-hour wind threat. We haven't seen much more than that. There's some concerns of stuff coming in out of Amarillo right now, but that's up north right now. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. But for now, Steve, what else do you have over there?
As you mentioned, the hail and wind threat in this area, that's a severe thunderstorm warning area. Let's take a little wider view down towards Tahoka right now. We've been watching this storm, which also shows signs of producing hail. A secondary storm that was over Terry County and has drifted into northwestern sections of Lynn County has actually weakened somewhat. Still likely getting some lightning with that. So right now we are streaming this on our website. So we'll be continuously streaming that at KCBD.com. Covering up commercials for now, but we'll continue to follow this and bring you updates as new information comes available.
You want max 1?
Are we on? Are we live now? Okay, good. Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Devine in the First Alert Forecast Center. Dylan Smith, Matt Ernst here in the Forecast Center with me this evening. We are looking at radar right now, and the yellow polygon that you see here is the severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for the Lubbock County area. Now, you can see this also includes a large area of Hale County. It extends out into Floyd County, Crosby County, as well as northern Lynn County, catches a portion of northeastern Terry County, and it still includes the eastern sections of Hockley County. Now, this line of storms has been producing some hail. We had a report of hail in the Levelland area along with a landspout just a little while ago. So let's go ahead and take a little closer look at this area right here, the northwestern Lubbock area back into the Hockley County area. I want to watch the intensity on this storm right here, because as we go through this 30-minute loop, you can see the storm intensity actually dropping off quite a bit. Here's the legend up here, and when we're looking at those purples, we're looking at likely severe weather, and the outlook is mainly for strong winds, gusts around 60 miles per hour. In some cases, it could get above that, and also large hail in the range of about 1 to 2 inches is possible with the atmospheric conditions that we have in place. But as we watch this, and we're seeing the weakening echoes, still strong, not saying that this is nothing to be concerned about. Don't want you to worry, but again, this is a thunderstorm complex. It is producing lightning, and whenever that's happening, you should be inside. But we're seeing some increase in the intensity right here around shallow water, back towards the county line there with Hockley County. And then out ahead of this, we're seeing another gust front. We had one come through just a little while ago. It's in the northwestern portions of the city of Lubbock right now. This is where we typically get some of our strongest winds. So expecting this over the next 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, to sweep across the city pretty much from the northwest to the southeast. So we typically see blowing dust in these situations. That can create some very low visibility. But if we can, Dylan, zoom in a little bit closer out here just to the west of the shallow water area, where we can see that intensity that's picked up right here. So right along the county line here, just to the northeast of the Smyre area, is where we're likely getting some of that hail at the moment. Now, as we move to the east, shallow water, we're also seeing the possibility of hail falling in this area. This storm is drifting pretty much to the east. It's already moving into the New Deal area, and expecting that this is going to continue to sweep eastward, so affecting especially the northern portions of the county. But we've seen a little bit of building to the south with this, so northern areas of the city of Lubbock likely to catch a little bit of this too. And then off over southeastern sections of Lubbock County have a separate little cell right over the Ransom Canyon area, and the intensity right here indicates the storm is pretty strong. So we could see some very heavy rainfall. Again, the outlook for flooding is on the low end of the threat scale, but when we have some of these thunderstorms, and some of these are relatively slow moving, that could produce enough rainfall to create at least some localized flooding in the area. Dylan, if we can put this into motion here, we can watch the motion of this cell right here, which has actually been tracking more to the northeast, and a second, well, not a secondary cell, but another cell. This one, notice it is actually building a little bit to the northwest. And as you look at this, here is another outflow boundary. We have a number of these boundaries in the area, and as these converge, we sometimes see additional development, and these storms can move along those boundaries. So sometimes we get what you might refer to as erratic movement, in that in general everything is moving to the west to the north, from the west to the east here, but you'll see some of those other cells have some other movement to them. So again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 10:15, and that includes this entire area. So if you live in this area, you are included in that warning for the threat of very large hail, 1 to 2 inches in diameter. If we can take a look at one of our cameras, perhaps the 98th camera, the one here at the studio, looking out to the west-northwest, and we've been seeing a lot of lightning with this. So this is the cell that we've just been talking about over the northwestern portion of the county. You see the frequent lightning here. Lightning, again, this is one of the main threats that we have going on. So coming up in a little bit, I'll be back, we'll be back, Dylan and Matt and I will be back. We'll talk more about this, but coming up in just a few moments, we're going to be back on air on Channel 11 with another update. Thanks for watching here. We'll be back in a little bit.
This is a First Alert Severe Weather Update.
Good evening. Thank you for watching News Channel 11. I'm Steve Devine, of course, joined by Dylan Smith, Matt Ernst here in the First Alert Forecast Center. We've been watching some thunderstorms this afternoon and this evening, and right now one of the strongest cells is this area right here over northwestern Lubbock County, which is included in this broad area of a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 10:15. Main concerns continue to be large hail, 1 to 2 inches in diameter, wind gusts that may exceed 60 miles per hour. Now, we're getting some reports that this storm actually now is moving to the east as fast as 60 miles per hour. That would be primarily this leading edge right here. So Dylan's putting our storm tracker on this so that you can get a little better idea of that. We won't be able to extend it all the way out to 60 miles per hour at this point here, so we'll have to zoom out just a little bit to do that. But you can see that this is on its way, tracking towards Lorenzo, the Slayton area, as well as Wolfforth areas. So with these storms, in addition to the possibility of hail, those very strong winds, both of which may cause damage, there may be some localized flooding with this. So here's the hail tracker showing the largest hail likely is located right here up to about 1 inch in diameter, very near the Lubbock-Hockley County line, just to the northeast of the Smyre area. So as these storms move through the area, you should be inside at that point. Also, I want to mention that we are streaming our coverage online, KCBD.com. So once this commercial break is over, we'll continue coverage there. For the time being, we are not covering up the program, just bringing you updates during the commercial breaks. Here's two of the reports that we've received as far as the severe weather. Earlier we had up to 2 inch diameter hail reported in the Levelland area, and also some large hail in Tahoka. Now, in addition, up to 1 inch there in the Tahoka area. In addition to the hail around Levelland, there was a report of a well-developed land spout. And again, basically a weak tornado. They develop a little bit differently than tornadoes, and that's why they're land spouts developing from the ground up towards the clouds, as opposed to a tornado which develops within the broad circulation inside a thunderstorm. So you can see the movement on this storm once again, tracking from the west to the east, southeast really, and gusty winds already moving through the city of Lubbock, but we're looking at the hail core now moving over the west central areas of Lubbock. So as this moves through the area, if you haven't already, you only have moments now, if you're in the city of Lubbock, to prepare for the strong winds, the possibility of the large hail with this system. Now, the tornado threat tonight does appear to be very low with the way that this atmosphere is set up. So we're going to stay here in the First Alert Forecast Center and track these storms as long as they pose a threat to any populated area here in the viewing area. But you can follow our coverage here in just moments, of course, at KCBD.com. And you can also see the radar at any time using the free KCBD Weather app. Just search for KCBD Weather in your app store.
Evening, guys. We are here in the Weather Center keeping track of these storms. It's a pretty active radar for the central portions of the South Plains. We've had severe thunderstorms since about 5 or 6 o'clock this evening. So over the last 3 or 4 hours, we have continued to see these storms bubble up. And this is kind of the culmination of a lot of that. This storm warned for a good chunk of the central portions. You've got all of Lubbock County. You've got the eastern portions of Hockley County. You've got a good chunk of Hale County, as well as Floyd, Crosby County, and then portions of Lynn County this evening. And that is in effect until 10:15, so 35 minutes from now. The threats for this storm: 60-mile-an-hour gusts, 1 to 2 inch 1-inch hail. We've seen reports down near Tahoka of 2-inch hail. With this storm so far, the only reports we've seen was out near Levelland here when it was at its strongest. It does look like the hail core has weakened significantly in the last 30 minutes or so, but the only hail reports we have are over in Hockley County near Levelland at 1 inch. Now, there are some varying sizes, anywhere from pea size all the way up to an inch. And again, this report right here west of Tahoka, when that storm was at its strongest, that storm no longer warned right now, but 2-inch hail has been reported over in Lynn County just west of Tahoka. And here's what's left of that storm. Now, it's still pretty strong, probably still dropping some pea to maybe even dime-sized hail, but generally a non-severe storm now north of New Lynn. It's taken an eastward turn, so it is not going to affect the city of Lubbock at this time. We did see some outflow boundaries from that storm. That's actually the first boundary we saw, but now we're seeing a lot of wind come off of this storm to the west and northwest of Lubbock, but now well into Lubbock County and continuing to push off to the east. It looks like we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning out west of Jayton here over in Kent County. We'll take a look at that real quick. And I believe, I'm not sure, if I had to guess, probably 1 to 1.5 inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour gusts. That's in effect until 10:45. It will affect Girard and Spur, moving off to the northeast. Steve, do you know what that warning is for?
Yes.
I've got some.
Okay, Matt's on.
Okay, Matt's got it.
That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 10:45 for northwestern Kent County and south central Dickens County, and that's the potential also for 60-mile-per-hour wind and about 1-inch hail the size of $50. So one thing we've noticed over the last few scans, though, the returns are a bit brighter there, and you're seeing right there on the hail tracker, it is a bit larger west of 208 due south of Spur. Again, that's moving northeast, so on that track hopefully passes between Spur and Girard, but starting to see some larger hail returns on that storm. Not seeing as large of hail returns on the storm moving into Lubbock right now. Dylan?
Thanks, Matt. And again, these storms have bubbled up. And the one thing, if you animate this, it's kind of a stationary storm. Over the last 30 minutes, it's moved just a couple of miles. So unlike the storm currently over Lubbock County, some of these storms have really popped up and not had much movement to them. So we've had some flash flood warnings, I believe, up in, I think it was Lamb County near Littlefield. There was a flash flood warning. There still is. I think it's in effect until 10:30 this evening. So as we zoom out, here is that polygon right here. It kind of gets lost in all the severe thunderstorm warnings, but they saw quite a bit of rain from this same system affecting Lubbock County right now. Flash flood warning up here until 10:30 p.m. between Sudan. You've got Earth as well as Olton right in this corridor along Highway 385 north of Littlefield. Still a flash flood warning ongoing for there. And then as we take a look at Lubbock County again, we are seeing some very strong winds starting to make its way into northern Lubbock as wind and rain. The good news is, guys, you know, on the scale here from light to heavy, the heavy being some large hail, it does look like the hail core of this storm has diminished in the last 45 minutes or so. Out near Levelland, it was warned for about 2-inch hail. Now it looks like the hail cores have diminished at least enough to maybe not be 2-inch, maybe more like 1-inch hail, but still the threat from this storm has primarily been wind since it started entering Lubbock County. But now we're talking about you know, maybe 1/2 inch to 1. We'll call it 1.5 inch hail still. Ping pong hail is what this warning is for, so we'll continue to call it that. But that storm is now making its way into northern Lubbock and likely going to be affecting most of the city, as this has generally an eastward component, but also a little bit of a southward movement to it. So if we animate the radar, you can see the general movement of this storm. As you notice, it's kind of taking more of an eastward turn, but I think even South Lubbock might get hit by this tail as it comes on through, even if it stays on an eastward track there. But you notice also in front of it, there is that gust front there. And as we look at the storm tracker, timing-wise, Idalou getting hit by the winds in the storm around 9:56. Lubbock here, it depends on what part of Lubbock you're in, but around 10, so that's in about 15 minutes or so. We'll see the actual storm itself, the storm front, likely seeing some rain actually hit Lubbock there. And then Lorenzo at 10:10, Rawls at 10:24, and then Crosbyton at 10:40. But we do have some non-severe storms east of Lubbock over near Post, and then again, that non-severe storm still bubbling up east of up Tahoka. That's the storm that dropped the biggest hail observed so far at 2 inches. And then this one looks pretty good. But one thing to note is the further you get away from the radar, the higher up in the clouds you're scanning. And yes, hail usually is bigger up in the clouds than it is at the surface because it can melt. So when you see a big return like this, it's not always that size at the ground. It's just how high you are off the ground there is what we're hitting. So that's just one of the disadvantages being so far from radar. But still, that is some large hail, likely 1 to 2 inches still for that storm out south of Spur, west of Girard, again over here in Kent and Dickens County there. And that is, again, that radar is showing 2 to 2.5 inch hail for that storm. But as we take a look, let's actually look a little bit further north. I know we have a warning up there for our northwestern counties this evening. We've got a line of storms coming in out of the panhandle here, and you can see the leading edge of that has been warned really for the last couple hours, and it has now extended over near Dimmitt up in Castro County is where that warning is for right now. This one's 60-mile-an-hour gusts and about 1 to 1.5 inch hail as well. And you notice as these storms continue to push, you see some stuff kicking up in front of it. That is non-severe, but this line of storms really going to be impacting our northern counties here over the next couple hours, as even this spot right here, I'm surprised, might catch a warning here soon, affecting Hart and again near Dimmitt, and that warning is in effect until 10:15 this evening. So it's a pretty active radar north to south, east to west, maybe not so much our western counties anymore. You guys got in on some rain earlier, but here's a look at radar currently. It looks like there's maybe a bit of a hail core kicking up just northwest of Lorenzo there, southeast of Abernathy, but east of Lubbock, and that will likely move to the east, not really affect Lubbock itself. But here's Beckton and Idalou right there between those two, FM 400 there. And as we take a look at the hail tracker, if we can get a reading on that, but I bet, yeah, 1 to 1.5 inch. We'll call it 1 to 2 inch hail falling from that storm and continue to push off to the east. So if you're in Estacado or Lorenzo, now's the time, probably a little too late to move the vehicles inside, but now's the time to move to the interior portions of your house just to stay away from the windows, because hail can and does break windows as well as damage cars and things like that. So better safe than sorry and stay indoors as this storm approaches. But you can see it's kind of enveloping around the northwestern corner of Lubbock this evening and continuing to push further to the east. And if it does continue this track, it looks like the tail might not actually hit South Lubbock. Steve?
We're going to go ahead and switch over to on air here in just about 30 seconds,
okay,
and then we'll come back as we get some more information.
All right, so we'll be right back, guys. Thank you.
This update sponsored by Cantex Roofing. This is a First Alert Severe Weather Update.
Good evening, I'm Steve Devine in the First Alert Forecast Center. Just now hearing our first thunder here at the studio, 98th and University. We are under a severe thunderstorm warning. The yellow polygon right here includes the entire county of Lubbock, but it extends northward to just the southern edge of Plainview, out to just west of Crosbyton, down to right about Tahoka, and back to just east of the Levelland area. This is in effect until 10:15. Watching this complex of storms right here, producing wind gusts potentially greater than 60 miles per hour. Now earlier we did get some hail reports of 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter around the Levelland area. The intensity here has dropped off some. This is still a very strong storm. We're still under the severe thunderstorm warning, but the hail tracker here showing the potential for hail has dropped off just a little bit in northwestern Lubbock County, but northeastern Lubbock County is where we're still looking at the potential for some large hail. Now the hail tracker does an estimate based on the data that it's collecting from the radar to come up with that. So right now, here is the most intense part of that cell, northeastern sections of Lubbock County, and you can see that this is a pretty wide swath, almost from near Beckton back to just west of Idalou. This is tracking to the pretty much to the east or a little bit to the east-southeast. So this may hit the Beckton area. Idalou area. This could bring hail to your area. This is an outflow boundary. Strong winds have likely just moved through the Lorenzo area, tracking on up through the northeastern areas of Crosby County. And we're also looking at a pretty strong cell that's just southwest of Lorenzo. This may track up into your area too. Western areas of Lubbock County seeing some very heavy rainfall right now. And as we go through the next few minutes, you can see this is just about moving into the northwestern edge of the loop. So this will have the main effect in the northern half of the city, northern portions of the county, but we're still looking at the possibility that much of the city could see the strong winds, the large hail, and the heavy rain with this. Now, down to the south and southeast of us, another severe thunderstorm warning. This is a very intense cell. This is just south. This is in the Kent County area. We're looking at this system here tracking. It's been tracking pretty much to the northeast. Let's put that into motion. Notice the hail core right here is almost not moving at this point, northwestern Kent County, and we could see some very heavy rainfall with this. And as we put the hail tracker on this, give us an estimate. And again, this is just a rough guide. The potential for hail up to about 2.5 inches in diameter, up to about baseball size or so. So let's pull out on this, put this into motion just so everybody can see the radar here. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll have more for you during the 10 o'clock newscast, and we'll continue streaming as we can on our website. We are streaming on the website, kcbd.com. And again, we've only been covering up commercials, not the programming. We'll have more for you, as I mentioned, in a newscast that begins in just minutes.
So again, quick update here. We are getting ready for our 10 o'clock newscast here shortly. But main thing is, let me go right here, is that we do still have this severe thunderstorm warning that's in place for Lubbock County. Goes until 10:15. The good news is it is not as strong as what it was earlier. So that is the good news right here. And we had the joke here when the watch was first posted. Someone had commented about, hey, everywhere but Lubbock getting the rain, right? Well, look at South Lubbock. And sure enough, yet again, parts of South Lubbock, not as heavy, but so this is the latest update here. That's a severe warning that goes until 10:15 for Lubbock. Continues, and this storm is racing, but the potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind and 1-inch hail. The hail threat is primarily confined to northeastern Lubbock. Idlew up pretty much the road that goes from the airport, from there straight into Idlew past the detention center. North of that line right there, up near Beckton, that's where the main hail threat is at this point. So would not be concerned here in Lubbock for any like big hail or anything like that in, I guess, about the southern half of Lubbock. It's going to be heavy rainfall and wind. There could be hail anywhere within this warning, but right now the good news is hail threat is decreased except for mainly the northeastern corner. So that's a quick update here. We'll be on with News Channel 11 shortly. Steve and Dylan will have that update here in minutes. And let me see. I was jumping ahead. I was still a minute away until we come in here to the 10 o'clock newscast. So while the hail threat has decreased here in Lubbock, we're still seeing some larger hail indications on this storm that's nearly stationary in Kent County, south of Spur and Girard. So you see that right there. Then the complex of storms moving out of the Panhandle has been weakening just a bit. Still strong, but we'll be watching that. So again, our newscast coming up shortly. Keep it right here.
Coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Again tonight we have more than one meteorologist in the First Alert Forecast Center mapping out severe weather and what it may produce as it crosses our area. So let's go straight to Steve Devine for the very latest. Steve.
Thank you, Karen. Dylan Smith, Matt Ernst, also in the First Alert Forecast Center this evening with me. We have the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Lubbock County. It's the yellow polygon right here. They've just cleared the extreme northwest corner of the county from that, but extends all the way down to just along the western edge of Wilson, out to the east to just west of Crosbyton, almost to Floydada, and just on the southern edge of Plainview. So the strongest part of the storm is over the northeastern portion of the county, but we're also still seeing some pretty strong echoes over the northeastern portion of the city as well. Southeastern sections of the city seeing a little increase in the intensity. This is where the hail is most likely. And with these storms this evening, we have the potential for hail up to about 1 inch to 2 inches. Wind gusts 60 miles per hour. So this is in effect until 10:15. To the southeast, there is another severe thunderstorm warning, and this one is in effect for the Kent County area here south of Spur. Watching this storm, this warning is in effect until 10:45, also showing the potential for some hail there. Up over the northwestern portion of the viewing area, another severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Castro County near Dimmitt. Hail indicated just on the north side of Hart. Let's go to Dylan Smith. We have had some reports of some severe weather this evening.
That's right, not just hail, but also it looks like a spin up of a land spout near shallow water. This one sent courtesy of Kimbra Howell. We've seen anywhere from 1 to 2 inch reported hail, 2-inch hail down near Tahoka, 1-inch hail out near Levelland, and again, a lot of wind. 60 to 70 mile an hour gusts have been seen throughout the evening, and it continues to impact us. If you have pictures to submit, definitely submit them at kcb.com/first alert. You can submit them and we can show them on air. Steve?
And one more look at the storms and their motion on the radar here. And again, for the Lubbock County area, strongest portion of the storm now is over the eastern portion of the county. This is moving rapidly to the east, so it's all heading into Crosby County, also across sections of Hale County and the Floyd County area too. We'll take another look at the radar and also the forecast coming up a little bit later, Karen.
in the northern portions of the city. And it looks a little eerie outside. We had bands of rain coming down that looked a little bit like Stranger Things and that giant tentacle creature coming through. But currently it's stormy and there's quite a bit of rain to go around, especially for the eastern and central portions. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect for most of the area, at least the northern half of the area, until 11 p.m. And as we take a look at radar, at least in a second, that slight risk has been expanded for the eastern half of the area. Earlier it was a swath through the central, northern, and southern portions. Now it's extended further to the east. And that's exactly what we're seeing play out right now. As we take a look, a new warning has just been issued on top of the old one here in Lubbock County, as well as east into Crosby and Floyd counties. And again, this storm has been pushing out 60-mile-an-hour gusts over the last hour and a half or so. It had up to 2-inch hail possible out near Levelland earlier. In fact, there was a 1-inch hail observation as well as a landspout observation in Levelland earlier this evening. And this new warning right here, it does extend a little bit further east here. That's in effect until 11:15. As we take a look at the animation of this, you can see it's just a big cluster, a big storm here pushing now to the east. It looks like it's going to miss most of South Lubbock, but it has hit North Lubbock and continuing to push off to the east. Again, the hail core has diminished quite a bit over the last 30 minutes or so, but you can see the outflow boundaries here on that animation. So the winds are kicking out ahead of it, and that's where a lot of that straight line wind threat is. And taking a closer look at it, it's not to say there's no hail core at all. There is still some of those blues and purples in there, but generally it has tamed down a little bit. We're still seeing 1 to 2 inch hail measured, at least at the ground. Looking out to the southeast, this storm out in Kent County also pumping out 1 to 2 inch hail. It was a pretty big monster earlier. It's now kind of settled down a little bit, but 10:45 is the end of that warning. And the good news is all this stuff coming in out of the north has lost their warnings. Still a pretty strong line though, not lots of noise, lots of thunder, lots of lightning with that. And we also have a flash flood warning out here north of Littlefield for Lamb County and parts of Hale County. So definitely be aware of lots of rain. It's pretty noisy for the northern half of the city right now and continuing to pump out a lot of wind. And as we look at the reports of the last 6 hours, it limited it to just today so we don't get yesterday's reports. We had 2-inch hail reported out near Tahoka, 1-inch hail out near Levelland, and again up north, more wind and hail as well. And the rain has been kind of all over, namely the western half, but it's continuing to push east. So I'd expect before the night is over to see more rain observed for the eastern half of the area. And here's a look. It's kind of hard to see, but here's a look at that landspout out near shallow water earlier today, thanks to Kimbra Howell. A great picture there. And we've had a couple of reports of landspouts throughout that storm that's now pushing through Lubbock. And for those of you who don't have it yet, you can download our First Alert Weather app by taking a picture or at least hovering over this QR code here. It gives you up-to-date alerts and radar and interactive radars and things like that. We're also live, I believe, through that app as well. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, especially during severe weather season. Before tonight, 50s and lower 60s out there tomorrow morning. As we get to tomorrow afternoon, it'll be slightly cooler, but still pretty warm as we stay in the mid 80s. I don't expect as much rain tomorrow as today, but I do still have about a 10% chance for a few showers and storms throughout Sunday afternoon and evening. Temperatures stay in the 80s for the foreseeable future. It'll be a mild forecast for the rest of Memorial Day weekend as we talk about light chances of rain tomorrow. Rain chances kick up Monday evening into Monday night and into Tuesday especially. But those high temperatures will stay generally pretty consistent in the 80s. Rain chances will subside once this line of storms gets out of here by around midnight, maybe a little bit later tonight. And we are talking about more rain returning for Tuesday. But again, Memorial Day is looking beautiful for anything you've got planned. And speaking of rain, it's time to announce our rain gauge giveaway winner, Sierra Owen of Lubbock. Congratulations. You might have missed out on the rain tonight, but you know we've got more in store, so you might need it sooner rather than later. Karen.
Thank you, Dylan.
Sent in video from Dax Hood of a landspout out near Levelland earlier today. It looks a lot like a tornado. It basically is a weak tornado. Usually, if it was daytime, it looked more like a dust devil, but it looks pretty menacing in the evening in the dark there. But that was a landspout out near Levelland. We saw some of these yesterday as well, and that's just something we see sometimes. As far as what's going on right now, we have a flash flood warning in effect north of Littlefield, but this severe thunderstorm warning, it's the only warning in the area right now, and it does still envelop most of Lubbock and Lubbock County. So as we take a closer look at it, it's now edging close to Crosbyton at outflow boundary, currently affecting Crosbyton, or soon to be at the very least, and it is kicking up some cells. As you see the time lapse go, you see some cells kicking up out ahead of it. So we're not out of the woods yet. We have stuff developing below it, west of it, as well as north of it, but 60-mile-an-hour gusts and 1 to 1.5 inch hail is what we're seeing right now. We are seeing another weak cell or weaker cell develop over the station. It just started raining here a few minutes ago, and then again south near Post and further south along 84. Good looking cell, but again non-severe. Lots of heavy rain though going on with that. And then out behind west out near Morton, if we go out to the west a little more, out near Morton and Levelland, or between Morton and Levelland, another cell kicking up. We'll keep an eye on that one, but right now it's looking relatively tame compared to what we have been seeing, but again some heavy rain out near Whiteface and continuing to push off to the east along 114 there. But looking across more of the area right now, as we take a zoom out, we are still seeing that one warning. It's a big warning, but it is one warning out for Lubbock, Crosby, as well as Floyd counties there, and extending out just south of Plainview. That warning is in effect until 11:15, so it's a relatively fresh warning, about 45 minutes left on it. And then coming in out of the north, you might notice a line of storms coming out of the Panhandle and Amarillo. It was warned until it reached the area, and now it has it's still strong. We're still seeing 50 to 55-mile-an-hour gusts out of this section south of Tulia and near Plainview, but not quite severe thresholds. We're not seeing the 60-mile-an-hour gust. We're not seeing the 1-inch hail just yet. Hopefully that maintains. It is all kind of congealing into one kind of weird line, but a line of storms there, and continues to push about 50 to 60-mile-an-hour gusts down here, up here 40 to 50. So there's a lot of wind with these storms, not as much hail as there was earlier this evening, where we saw 1 to 2 inch hail. We saw 2 inch hail down near Tahoka. We saw 1 inch hail measured out in Levelland, and that landspout as well that we had video of just now. And Steve's going to give us the storm tracker here. These storms are moving rather quickly, but they will be reaching areas like Crosbyton here in about 10 minutes or so, around 10:38, Mount Blanco at 10:42, 11 o'clock, Doherty, and then Roaring Springs at 11:22, I'm sorry, and that will be affecting Spur as well. So this storm continuing to push further away from Lubbock, so the severe threat of the winds and the hail moving away from Lubbock proper, but it is spreading to the eastern portions now. Behind it, again, Lubbock's still under that warning, but again, that's mostly just outflow boundary stuff, and that is 40, 50, 60-mile-an-hour gusts still possible. And that little tail in there coming in and giving some of the southern portions of Lubbock a little bit of rain this evening. So if you have been affected by the storm, you got viewer video of either hail or anything like that, send it our way. Go to KCBD.com and submit it so we can see it and show it off, because we have seen some impressive things like that landspout video that we've seen. We've seen a lot of lightning today, and that watch is still in effect for another 30 minutes for the northern and central portions of the South Plains. What I expect to see possibly early, although it is already 10:30, so they might not cancel it early like they did last night, but western areas likely to be less likely to see any kind of severe weather for the rest of the evening. You notice out west, it looks like this little tail south and east of Morton. That seems to be the last dredges of what we're seeing right now. Everything is starting to move east. It'll congeal into more of, we call it an MCS or a multi-cell system, and that will push further off to the east of the South Plains. But we are keeping an eye on that near Whiteface. And as we take a look at this storm again, lots of outflow boundaries kicking up, these little fingers, these little cells in front of this storm. So it's not just one uniform line anymore. There's just pockets of rain extending out. That's kind of typical to see. And what we aren't seeing right now is the bowing that we sometimes see during hook echoes or bowing or anything like that. So I'm not concerned about tornadic activity for the evening, just straight line winds, and that again, those fingers sticking out ahead of that storm out near Post, down 84, further south of there. So things are I want to say things are settling down a little bit. Obviously, there are still some severe thunderstorm warnings, and there's still quite a bit of activity on radar. So the night is not over just yet. But I think the most severe stuff, we're talking 2+ inch hail, the 70-mile-an-hour gusts, I think those are settling down. We'll likely still see some stronger storms throughout the evening and into the early overnight. It looks like they just adjusted this to now not include as much of Lubbock, as well as portions north of Lubbock near Hale County. So that just tells you that they're expecting the severe threat to continue to move away from Lubbock this evening and continuing to push further east of the central portions and soon to be into the eastern portions of the South Plains. So that's what's going on right now, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're online streaming, keeping you up to date as what's going on. But for now, things are winding down for Lubbock proper, continuing to push east of Lubbock and into the eastern portions of the South Plains. Have a good evening.